What's up, YouTube? So for the longest time, my friends have been telling me I should make vlogs for YouTube. And I get it because I'm pretty articulate, like I could be charismatic on camera. But I'm not really someone who likes to watch vlogs on YouTube, so I thought like, why the hell should I make one? But this is a topic I think is pretty important I talk about, and that topic is marijuana. So, assuming most of the people who are watching this, at least initially, know who I am or know who I am personally, you guys know I'm a weed smoker. Or at least I was. Outside of my close personal friends, most of you don't know this, but I haven't smoked weed in a month. And that's given me a lot of new insight and perspective on the drug. And I'm going to take this time to talk about some of the positives of it, some of the negatives of it, and, dispel some myths of it so people can make healthier choices and, surrounding the drug. At least be woke about, what the drug is really about. So just for some perspective, pot is a drug I first tried in 11th grade, I believe, on 420, which was also ironically the first time I had a breakup, the first time I got dumped. And, I tried it the first time with some friends, and, I didn't really get high, and I didn't really like it, so I didn't really do it again, like a lot of time passed between the first time and the second time I tried it. So, whatever, I tried it in 11th grade, didn't like it, and I didn't smoke again for almost 9 months to a year until senior year of high school when I dated a girl who happened to be a huge pothead. And she was always smoking her like wax space vapes were the thing at the time actually. She was always smoking her pen or smoking a bowl or whatever, and she never had any problem smoking me up, she had money like that. So, I figured it was free, like why not? I started to get high, I started to enjoy it. And eventually it became part of a routine in my life because this girl would smoke me up every day after school and we get high and we watch a movie and have sex and it was lit. Like I enjoyed it when I was in high school. Yeah, then high school ended. I dumped that girl or whatever. She's kind of annoying. And, but I continued to smoke pot because, at that time I was used to it and I was enjoying it and I had some friends who smoked it. So I was like, fuck it. Like, I'll smoke it. And I continued to smoke it throughout college. And I think about like, this is my second semester of my sophomore year, in case you don't know that. And, eventually about 6 months ago, I realized that it just wasn't that healthy of a drug, which is, I want to get to the first myth I'm going to dispel. And people say pot's like not addictive, but the truth is that's total bullshit, man. Like, I needed to smoke it before I went to sleep, so I slept easier at night. And I needed to smoke it when I was stressed or anxious or when I was bored or because I felt social pressure too. And people say it's like not addictive, but like I'll tell you why that's total bullshit because it's so gradual, the addiction process, that you don't notice and it becomes normalized in your life because the more you smoke, the more you meet people who smoke because people who smoke have a common interest and that's weed. So you end up hanging out with a lot more potheads. And because of that, your friends start to morph from, when in high school when I first started smoking, I'd say 25% of my friends smoked weed. And, up until about a little while ago, I'd say that number was more at 75%. There's a variety of factors in this because maybe other people were like me and didn't start smoking till college, so, they're just more potheads. But a lot of it was because I was getting introduced to more marijuana users by, the potheads I was hanging out with. So my friend, so I like it started to become like, oh, everyone smokes weed because, everyone around me smoked weed. It's not like everyone actually smokes weed. It's just everyone I was hanging out with smoked weed. So it becomes normalized. So like you're usually hanging out with people who smoke even more weed than you. So you're like, oh yeah, yeah, I'm not as bad as them. Yeah, of course you're not as bad as them, but that doesn't mean you're better off than someone who doesn't smoke. And this isn't really helped by the fact that all you hear in the fucking media is legalize it, and you see people with like, their legalize it t-shirts and shit. So, you're like, how bad can it be? Like, weed never killed no one. And yeah, that's true. Like, weed probably hasn't really killed anyone, but it's led a lot of people to make poor choices. So like when you take four terms, cokehead, alcoholic, cigarette smoker, and pothead. Like most people, you say pick the one that's least bad, and most people would say pothead because marijuana isn't a drug that really deteriorates your physical health like Xanax and a Xanax addiction would or a coke addiction would. You can't overdose on it, and cigarettes like kill you slowly, but everybody knows that already, so that's why everybody assumes it's bad. But weed does deteriorate your mental health in ways that you don't realize. Like I was a lot more depressed when I smoked weed. I thought weed would cure my depression, and it did for the time I was high. But when I wasn't high, I went right back to being depressed. Because weed is a drug that makes you do nothing, and doing nothing makes you depressed. And weed is a drug that subdues your emotions a little bit. Like when I went through the most I don't know, a lot of this is tied into breakups for some reason. But when I went through my most recent breakup, or my second to most recent breakup, actually, because my most recent breakup was recently, but I smoked so fucking much during it, you know. But that's why I was more depressed, because instead of like, you know, being sober and dealing with all the different emotions that comes with a breakup, or comes with, you know, stress from school, or whatever variety of factors are stressing you out in your life. It doesn't have to be a breakup, but you know, you're not really dealing with the root of your issue. So obviously you're gonna still be depressed, because you're still gonna have all these problems the second you sober up from the weed. And you know, weed does affect you after you're not high anymore. You know, like that THC is still floating around in your brain, you know, messing with your emotions, you know, messing with your decision making, you know, making you upset for a variety of reasons. Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of potheads are watching this video, because what the fuck do potheads do? They watch things about weed, like, but and you're probably like, oh nah, it makes me more creative. Oh no, like blah blah blah, it helps me with this, and you know, or it's medical, like, and you know, it does have medical purposes, I suppose, but if you're really gonna talk about it as a medicine, then you should treat it as a medicine, you know. Like opioids are a medicine that could be used to cure pain in extreme cases, like a surgery or a car crash, or you know, whatever, like morphine and shit. But like, you know, when you abuse that medicine, you get addicted and you die, or you get addicted and you get unhealthy. Like, so if you're really gonna think of it as a medicine, then you have to treat it as a medicine and not abuse it. And if you're gonna say it makes you more creative, like, yeah, I guess, you know, I've seen some of those like art hoes like fucking draw nice pictures and shit. You know, there's a couple of girls in Bing I have in mind who just get stoned and make some nice art. Or like, you know, Lady Gaga smokes weed, or Juice World smokes weed, or like all these famous rappers smoke weed. And yeah, I guess like it makes them more creative, but unless you're like musically, artistically talented, like it's really not gonna help you that much. Like I've never done anything specifically creative on weed. Like maybe I had like a nice freestyle with my boys, but like, I mean, I could do that sober. Like, you know, it's not something I needed to smoke for. Like, I'm sure if this video by some luck ends up blowing up, like, I'm sure I'm gonna have a ton of podcasts like typing, you know, like, oh, you know, you don't know fucking jack shit about what you're talking about. Yeah, I know jack shit about what I'm talking about, bro. Like, I smoked like a ounce a month. Like, yeah, I smoked, and since I stopped smoking, like, I just have clarity in my brain, and I'm able to rationalize thoughts properly and grow as a person and make better decisions and more mature decisions. Like anyone who smokes weed like habitually or like routinely is a fucking tweaker, bro. Like if you smoke weed every single day, you are tweaking. Like that shit affects the way you think about life. That shit affects your decision making, and you're not really gonna see how you're wrong unless you give sobriety a chance. This is a completely true story right now. We had to have an inter fucking vention, intervention. I'm not gonna name drop any, you know, on this video, because that would just be fucked up. But one of my like closest friends couldn't stop smoking weed, and you know, wasn't doing well in school and had no job, and that's because he was stoned all the time. And even after this intervention, like where we had to get his dad involved, my, you know, one of his other childhood best friends, me, who was one of his longtime friends, involved. This kid texted me right after the intervention, "Yo, did you take my pen?" Like, I mean, I said I did, even though I didn't, but like, this kid was tweaking so bad that we were telling him how his habit was hurting his family and his friends, and he's still trying to get high. Like, weed makes you, like, you know, makes you tweak, and it doesn't let you grow as a person. Like, it makes you, you know, it makes you stuck in the place you are. Like, anyone who smokes weed, you know, like, actually, if you're a pothead watching this video, are you really satisfied with your life? You know, and if you're not, if you're someone who doesn't smoke or someone who used to smoke, do you know any potheads, anyone who's completely satisfied with their life? No one who smokes pot will ever have happiness, you know, or be satisfied with their life. And there's exceptions to every rule. Like I'm sure there are some, you know, potheads with their life put together who just, you know, are able to use the drug and control it. But for the majority of people who smoke routinely, the drug controls you more than you control the drug. And that goes across the board for almost any drugs. You know, all drugs cloud your brain. So you think that this drug is helping you, but it's not fucking helping you. I'm sorry. If you're someone watching this video who smokes on occasion, you know, I don't have a problem with that. Like, I'm not saying I'm never gonna smoke weed again. Like, you know, I've had my fun times with it, you know. Like, I've definitely made some friends through it. You know, maybe I hung out with some cute stoner girls because smoking was an excuse to hang out with them. Like, it has its moments and everything, but you know, like anything else, like in life, it's only good in moderation. Like think about alcohol, for example. If you go to a party, you have 4 or 5 drinks, you know, you loosen up a bit, you tell some jokes, you're a little more confident, you're willing to go up to that boy or that girl that you've always wanted to talk to. Yeah, that's good, you know. But the second you cross that line, and the limit for alcohol, obviously, you know, what someone could drink changes for everyone. For me, it's about maybe 8 or 9 drinks. But like once you reach that point, and you know you're throwing up over a toilet bowl, then it's too much, you know. Or if you're drinking often, it's too much, you know. Think about weed as alcohol, you know. It's okay in moderation. Like alcohol is all right to have on like a weekend or a couple times a month, you know, when you want to get lit. But if you're doing it every day, you know, that's just a fucking problem. So think about weed like that, you know? Like anyone who smokes weed every day, like there's so much THC fucking up your brain that you're just gonna be tweaking 24/7. In terms of legalization, like, yeah, I mean, people are gonna smoke weed, like, regardless of what the laws are. Like, prohibition didn't work, but, like, I don't think people should get arrested for, like, holding it, you know, like, having it on them. But I also don't think you should be able to go down to, you know, your local dispensary, like it's a liquor store, and, you know, buy some nugs. Like, that's just retarded. But, like, if everyone's gonna be smoking any every day, I mean, the government has to profit off it. Like, the government's a business. Like, don't forget that. You know what? And I really didn't want to be talking about my personal like life like this on YouTube or my like drug habits or my former drug habits, but you know, people who smoke weed every day are tweakers, and if this helps someone, you know, who's starting to smoke weed, just know about the effects and why you should do it in moderation, or if this helps someone who has a problem who didn't even realize they had a problem, then this video is worth it, you know, because I really don't like to be talking about this. I like to keep my personal life, but you know, if this helps someone out, then it was even if it's just one person, then it was worth it for me to make this video. Someone who doesn't know me that well, or someone who's managed to stumble across this video, and you think I'm full of shit, then I don't give a fuck, man. You watched my video till the end, so you know it's you're the one who wasted your fucking 10 minutes if you're not even gonna bother taking my advice. And honestly, I don't have jack shit to prove to like a bunch of random people on the internet. Like I know I'm happy with my life. I know I quit weed, and my friends who quit weed are happier with their lives. So, take my advice or leave my advice. It really doesn't affect me. But, I'm telling you the truth here. I'm telling you my personal life experience, and it's an opinion, and opinions could, opinions can never be wrong just because they're opinions. But, you don't have to believe me if you don't want it. It really doesn't matter to me. But, you obviously are watching this video titled "The Hard Truth About Weed" for a reason, because you're interested in hearing someone's perspective. So take my advice or leave it. But this is my gift to you. This is my first vlog. I really don't have any equipment. It's on my fucking Mac in my basement. This is the only place where I have the lighting and the sound where I could actually record a half decent vlog. And if this does well, like if like people are enjoying the content I made, and it gets whatever likes that I deem sufficient, or views I deem sufficient to make another one, then I will. And you could leave some suggestions in the comments. But I've had a lot more life experience than the average person. And I realized that in terms of relationships, I beat a case in the legal system. Like there's a lot I could fucking talk about. I've snuck in places. Like people who know me personally, like who know about my like personal life, they know I've been through a lot. And if you want to hear more, like I'd probably be willing to do it again. But let me know. Let me know what you thought of it. Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever the fuck people do on YouTube. And if it does well, I'll make another one. Leave some comments below about what you would think, would be a good topic for my next vlog. And if you thought this was shit, then I don't really care, bro. Like that's you're the one who wasted your fucking however long this video ends up being, like 12 minutes or something like that. You're the one who wasted your time. You're the one who got to end this video. So obviously you're somewhat engaged. If by some chance this video actually blows up enough that random ass heads are watching this, and you'd like some more advice on this, or you'd like to connect with me on social media, then I'll leave my Instagram and my Snapchat in the comments below. It's Lorenzo Davies, no space, Lorenzo Davies. And thanks for watching my first vlog. Peace out, YouTube.